May I come in,
Please come,
sir?
Shubham. Please come.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Kindly sit down, Shubham.
Thank you, sir.
Shubham, you are a very interesting and a nice candidate.
Thank you.
So I suggest that you become a little more relaxed. Don't put your hands on your thighs. Probably you can hold them like this and you'll be more comfortable. Why I said so is not only to make you put at ease. I think you are one of the few candidates who has come to us with a young age, first attempt, qualified for the interview. And you are been to Hansraj Indian Computers or whatever, and you are, what was your optional?
Sir, geography.
Your optional was geography. So we'll ask questions, and you have an interest in geopolitics.
Yes, sir.
So I would leave that to Ambassador Swaroop to grill you on geopolitics and geography, Revenge of Geography. Have you heard of a book called Revenge of Geography?
Yes, sir. I have heard of the book, but I have not read the book.
So you haven't heard of the author either?
No, sir.
Actually, he has 3 books which deal with the same kind of a subject, but we'll come to that later.
Yes.
You are from Bihar, and what is your place of domicile in Bihar?
Sir, it's Madhubani district, and that is a block named Khutauna, sir.
All right. Madhubani is famous for Madhubani paintings.
Yes, sir.
So I'm not going to ask you about that. I'm going to ask you about the foxnut growing in that area. You know what foxnut is?
Yes, sir.
Gee. Tell me why. What is so special about this nut, foxnut? Why is it considered important? And how is it important in the economy of Madhubani?
Sir, foxnut or makhana is famous for its nutritious diet. So it's also famous as a snack. It is a form of nutritious snack. So in terms of economy of Madhubani, it has been given GI tag and comes under one district, one product. So it has a labor intensive industry type in which provides lot of employment to the farmers over there, sir. So through the one district, one product, it can help.
Can you tell me what is the output volume of the foxnut crop in a year in Madhubani?
Sir, I am not aware.
Can you tell me the number of people who have been employed in this trade after employment generation?
Sorry, sir, I am not aware.
I will pass you on to Ambassador Swaroop.
Okay, Shubham, since you have said that, geopolitics and reading books and articles on geopolitics is your interest, which is the last article you read on geopolitics?
Sir, the lessons for the next war, it was published in the Foreign Policy magazine.
Lessons for the next war?
Yes, sir.
Who wrote this?
Sir, it was by the Foreign Policy magazine staff and it contained the views of 12 experts.
So, lessons for the next war, meaning the war after which one?
After the Russia-Ukraine war, sir.
Okay, so the next war, according to them, where is it going to be held?
Sir, most
China,
of them,
Taiwan?
Yes, sir, most of them agreed on China and Taiwan.
What lessons do you think China would have learned from what happened to Russia after the Ukraine invasion?
Sir, the China has not been forthcoming in its public documents about what it have learned. Sir,
No, obviously they are not going to issue a public document saying this is what we have learned from the Russia-Ukraine war. But I'm asking, as a student of geopolitics, what do you think would have been China's learnings from the Russia-Ukraine war?
Sir, I think China might have learned 2 things. It is difficult to win a war in this time, in the current geopolitics era, even if they are the second largest economy. So second, in terms of deterrence, even if NATO or the West have not even considered Taiwan as the member of NATO, then also they can cover the expenses, they can cover the military spare parts, etc. So I think, sir, this was the one lesson. The second lesson could be that in future, with USA and the West focused on the Russia-Ukraine war, they can attack Taiwan, and the spare parts and the other economic scenario of West would have declined by then, and China could have easily captured Taiwan in future. So these are the 2 lessons, sir.
How is India repositioning itself in geopolitics over, let's say, since 2014? What has been the change in the way India used to see itself as part of the international community before 2014 and now? What is the change in positioning of India in geopolitics that you are noticing?
Sir, I noticed 3 changes, sir. The first is seeing itself as a middle power or one of the poles in the geopolitics. Sir, second, in terms of more realistic foreign policy, in which we are not worry about the concerns of other countries about our interests. So we follow strategic autonomy and preserve our national interest. So third, we are trying to be a leading power from constrained power. So
From a constrained power,
yes, sir.
okay, or a balancing power.
Sir,
What is a
both.
constrained power? What is a constrained power?
So in my view, constrained power is a country who's not been able to utilize its potential because of the constraints put on it by the world or the current geography as well.
Okay, so what was India's constraints that were not allowing us to sort of show our full potential?
So first was the economy and the military capability of India. So second, the onus put by our neighboring countries such as Pakistan, China on the power of India. So
all that has disappeared now.
so
We
it
have
has
become
not
leading.
it has not disappeared, but India is trying to bypass that. India is trying to be a more assertive in that and deal with that on our own terms, sir. That's why I said, sir, India is trying to be a leading power. It might not be, but yes, India is trying. For example, Voice of Global South Summit was held recently. This shows that India is trying to be a leading power.
Thank you, sir. Trying to be a leading power. There's a world of difference in trying to be leading power and then indeed deserving to be a leading power.
Yes.
Compare the GDP, the foreign exchange holdings, the arms and ammunition with China and that of India. I'm a very patriotic person, but I'm very realistic also.
Yes.
So can you give a comparison and then your conclusions?
So I would try, sir. So in terms of GDP, India's current GDP is at 3.7 trillion US dollar. China's GDP is around 17.7 US trillion dollar. So in terms of foreign exchange, we have around 560 billion dollar. So I'm not sure about China's, but it would be more than 1 trillion US dollar. So in terms of military technology, China has more number of, is the largest navy. They also have more more advantages in the military tech. But at the same time, in the military space, we are catching up. But still, we are sort of matching the China's power. So still, sir, I believe, sir, with the help of our partners, particularly Quad and the Western partners, we would be able to match China, especially in the war as well
Very
as
good.
the geo-economics.
Now, one thing that is very critical, attitude towards anti-national activity.
Yes, sir.
Here you would find in Kashmir and elsewhere, constables being shot dead, police stations being attacked, and cases dragging on for years together as it happened in 26/11. And in China, summary trial, summary disposal, and the cost of the 6 bullets fired into the person is recovered from the family of the deceased. Somebody from your family tried to act against the interest of China, and therefore the bullets will also come from your assets. Do you think something like as drastic like this against anti-national elements has to be introduced in India also, or we can do fine with the way we are doing as a democratic and a law-abiding country?
Sir, I do believe in democracy and rule of law. I believe what we are doing can be improved, but it should not be similar to China. Our strength is our democracy, our strength is our rule of law. We should be competing in that and not in the authoritarianism, because if we follow the democracy, all our other nations will support that against China.
You are fortunate to study in a Delhi college.
Yes, sir.
We have an iconic institution, JNU.
Yes, sir.
JNU is iconic, there is no doubt about it.
Yes.
But there are certain controversies attached now, like the desecration of Swami Vivekananda's statue. And also, some kind of I'd like to listen from you. Do you think there is a justification for such activities in a campus funded by Government of India?
Sir, there can't be any justification for violence or destruction of public property. But at the same time, also feels there is a right to protest. And even if these protests turn into violent activities, the law should take its own course, and we should not be doing what China is doing to its protesters, sir.
Coming to JNU, there's been a lot of talk of students and student leaders. The police should have taken the permission of the VC before entering the campus. Do you think the police need to take anybody's permission to enter the campus when there is violence? Or they can enter suo motu, or they should have taken the VC's permission?
Sir, I'm not sure about what the law says or what the regulations of entering into JNU campus says. So if that regulation says that the police have to take the permission of VC, so in my view they have to take the permission. So I do follow the rule of law, and whatever it says, the police should follow, sir.
Thank you, Shubham.
Shubham, taking forward the conversation you are having with esteemed panel member, India is set to lose the fastest growing economy tag. To which country in 2023? Any idea?
Ma'am, there are a lot of countries, but in terms of our level emerging economy, there is UAE and Qatar. They are growing more than us, ma'am.
So any educated guess?
No, ma'am.
It is a South Asian country. Now you want to take a guess?
A neighbor?
Bangladesh.
No. Anyways, okay. You must have heard about dark net. What is the difference between dark net and dark web?
Ma'am, although I'm not sure about the specifics, ma'am, I would say dark web is a subset of dark net, where dark web is more related to the web pages that are not available on the normal search engines, whereas dark net consists of these dark web and other specs such as dark servers, etc.
So this dark web or dark net for that matter, is it all dark in its sense, like in its total connotation, or is it having some positive also attached to it?
Ma'am, it does have some positive in terms of resistance forces communicating. For example, in Myanmar, resistance forces have been communicating using darknet, or even during the Iran protest, many protesters are using darknet to communicate, ma'am.
So it is having certain positives.
Yes, ma'am.
What to do to regulate this thing? Do we need to regulate? Can we, first of all, can we regulate darknet?
Ma'am, at the current level of technology that the government have, I don't think they have the power to regulate, but with the help of big techs, they can regulate, ma'am.
What actually happened in the cyber attack on AIMS?
Ma'am, because of the legacy infrastructure at the AIMS, a lot of these computers came under the attack, mainly servers. Around 26 servers came under the attack. It was thought to be a ransomware attack, but the ransom was not sought. But I think NIC and the CERT have taken back the control of the servers and have improved the cyber security measures.
So what do you think? You are a computer science student. What do you think if, let's say, tomorrow you have to frame a policy, what would be its three major components regarding cyber security?
Ma'am, can I take a few seconds to think?
Sure.
Ma'am, first would be removing all the legacy infrastructure and having high-tech, up-to-date updates on the infrastructure. Second, ma'am, having constant training of the individuals that are manning this institution through CERT or the NIC. Ma'am, third, I would have engagement with all the global actors and the global organization to restrict this cybercrime, because these originate in other countries, ma'am.
So you are going to have a virtual conference with the nations of every,
Ma'am, through the cooperation such as Budapest Convention, although we are not the member, we can try through Quad or the other organization through government, ma'am.
Okay. My last question to you, do you think in today's modern times, it is high time we switch over to same-sex same hostels for girls and boys as compared to segregated hostels? If you go to Labasna, there is no such restriction. You can be in the same hostel. The hostels are not gender specific.
Ma'am, in my view, yes, there can be the same sex, or there can be no segregation, because we have to move on from the patriarchal attitudes that separated the gents and boys. But at the same time, concerns of all the stakeholders in terms of the students and the teachers should be taken into account, so that they don't face any problems. All the security measures such as cameras, etc., or the separate bathroom should be there, so that a lot of untoward incidents that might happen in that case should be prevented. So with safeguards, ma'am, these can be taken.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Shubham. Your answers are pretty well measured. I'm happy with your response. The first mixed gender hostel was started again by JNU way back in '66. JNU was not in existence. It was an institute called Indian School of International Studies. The Gomti hostel was a mixed hostel with wings with girls and boys, with the rules were extremely interesting that a girl could visit a boy's room but a boy could not visit a girl's room. And if one of them visited, the door had to be kept ajar at 45 degrees. So it was self-regulation and things of that kind. And nothing untoward happened at all. In all the 4 or 5 years, the hostel worked and then we became the part of the JNU. So that's one. My only suggestion to you is that I think you equivocate at times. You say, yes, I concede, but also this. So when you are asked a question for your opinion, this is not a test so much of your knowledge as of your personality. You do not have to qualify everything. And I think the tendency to say all the stakeholders should sit together, all the stakeholders should talk is to all questions. And you seem to have a panacea of quads, कि quads में चले जाएंगे, quads में कर लेंगे. Otherwise, you are very good. I don't think there's a problem. If you have a question, you can ask us, but not more than one question.
Okay, sir. I was told that I speak fast and loud, sir.
No, you don't speak loud, but you speak fast. You tend to speak fast, but I am no one to say
But
that.
I think it is a bit loud.
It is a bit harsh. I don't know, it is a bit of a problem of the natural voice.
Yes.
So you tend to come across as louder than you would otherwise.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
There's a quality of voice. I would not comment on that. Is no wonder. But you do tend to speak fast. But then again, I restrict because I am given to the same drawback myself. I would say don't curb your natural self. But if you take a deep breath, think about that, wait for the question to sink, it will be rectified.
Okay.
Good luck to you. When is your interview? Do you know?
6th Feb, sir.
Good.
You're a very good
well.
candidate.
You will do very well.
You
Don't
should
worry
make it
about
in the
that.
first attempt.
Thank
You
you.
should make it in the first attempt.
Have you done your mains well?
Yes, sir.
Then
Then
all
there
the
is no
best.
problem.
Thank you, sir. Thank
All
you,
the
ma'am.
best.